What do you think about Arvind Kejriwal, by the way?
ऐसा कोई सगा नहीं जिसको केजरीवाल जी ने ठगा नहीं। जो शीला जी के बाथरूम में एसी है नहीं उसकी आरटीआई डालते थे, उन्होंने शीश महल बनाया जिसकी कमोड लोग कहते 70,000 से लेकर 1.5-2 लाख के कमोड थे।
Do you think there's a visible change in education and healthcare sector over the last 10 years?
It's worsened, especially healthcare. See, the BJP tom-toms Ayushman Bharat. Except for Delhi, go to any of the big cities, forget villages, and see which of the big hospitals are taking Ayushman Bharat. None of the big hospitals mostly are taking it. And the reason is that the central government, a lot of places money is spending to be paid. You think Nayab Singh Saini ji can run the government there? Just look at your showcase city Gurugram, how it's deteriorated. यार 100 करोड़ का घर, 50 करोड़ का घर, what is the quality of life? आप बाहर निकलो कूड़े में आप हो, पानी में जाओ आपको शॉक लग जाएगा, मर जाओगे, एम्बुलेंस आते आते ट्रैफिक जैम में फंस जाएगी, पोल्यूशन इस लेवल का, वाटर इज नॉट क्लीन. This is your millennium city. Look at the kuda on the road. Nayab Singh Saini is frankly a failure as a chief minister. Somebody like me has to come in, somebody who's now beyond this nonsense of conventionality. You have to talk about the state, the country, and move forward. And we are in a hurry, bro. We have to start moving. India will be left behind. This is India's greatest opportunity to grow. If we don't capture this decade and a half, we will never be a top economy country. You can sure be proud of fourth largest economy, third largest economy. What is your per capita income? It is our duty to end poverty. It is our duty to make people rich. We'll have to change this. We have to give people good infrastructure. We have to give people a good lifestyle. The transition is happening from conventional to AI and tech driven. If we miss this bus, we will be decades behind. This 15 years is our time now.
Hi, Namaskar. Welcome to another podcast. I'm joined in today by a dear friend, Tehseen Poonawalla. Tehseen is a political commentator, and I'm sure many of you who are actively observing what is happening in the country or watch TV news, debates, and channels have seen him working his magic over the years. I have been a personal witness, and we were chatting about it off the camera, that I think I first saw you in 2017-18 up close, where of course we knew each other before that, but then it was in one of those shows where we got an interaction. I saw you in action, like when you were debating, and before we begin any discussion about elections or what has happened in the country over the last couple of weeks, let me first ask, how do you do it? How do you do it? You've been relentless over the last many years now, close to a decade. Where do you find this energy? How does Tehseen do it? What is your modus operandi?
Thanks, Arjun. Thank you. And first of all, congratulations on your little princess. Many congratulations. I think this is something I visualized, bro. I actually visualized this as a child, not TV as a child, but I want to be a political commentator. I want to be involved with politics. As a child, I visualized it. Then when TV was a lot more saner, when you had the Kapil Sibals, the Arun Jaitley Jis, all of them on television, the senior Ravi Shankar Prasad Jis, etc. That's what you visualized you wanted to do in TV. So I just thought that is how it should be. And I'm living my dream. So I can't complain. I love it.
But how do you manage it with your day? Tell me how your day is structured. Well, generally it happens on YouTube, day in my life. What does a day in your life look like? Because you spend crazy amount of hours on television debates and podcasts and things like that. And then you've got a personal life where you're managing a family. There's also a lot of work. What do you do?
So, wake up at 3:50 a.m. every day, 4 a.m. period for meditation, sadhana. So I do a lot of tantra. So 4 a.m. I meditate about till 5:15. Then I sleep again 6:30 I'm up. Then from there my day starts. I do a little bit of my visualization, my gratitude. Then the work for the day that I want to do. If I line up my day for what I want to do. And the first half until 2 o'clock, I finish off all my business work. Post 2, generally you have television. Post 4, you generally have television. So 2 to 4 is my personal space where I'll finish. I eat only one meal a day, so I eat it between that period. And then 4 o'clock onwards, television.
Just one meal a day?
Only one meal a day.
How come? Is that a doctor recommended or what?
No, it just keeps me energetic.
How long have you been doing it?
Now 6-7 years.
Just one meal a day?
Yeah, and no sugar, no, generally high protein. So one meal.
You're getting beefed up also, by the way.
I'm like, so this is my phase where I'm beefing up, then I'll again lean down. So I keep playing with that. So so 2 to 4 I'll finish my meal and all of that. And then 4 o'clock onwards, TV shows. So if I'm in Delhi, then you go to the studio. If I'm in Pune, Mumbai, I do it on Zoom or the unit comes home. So 5 to 9, 9:30 फिर TV हो जाता है. 10:30, 11 I go down, work out in my house. and then go to sleep by 12.
So, but you're essentially taking 4 hours of sleep or less than
About 5 hours of
About
sleep.
5 hours.
But in this 2 to 4 period, again, another half an hour.
Okay, so you take a power nap in the afternoon.
Power nap. And if I'm going to Noida from GK, then I take a power nap. Yeah, I take a power nap again.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But you also believe in visualization.
I do. Completely
It's
believe
worked
it.
for you?
Totally. Everything, I'm living my dream. It's totally worked for me. Now the next step of my visualization, I hope it comes true, but I did visualize that I wanted to do this.
Okay, and do you also have that, vision board or things like that?
No, but it's more sadhana. But these are all very fancy words, visualization, and these are all the Western concepts. But if you read, for example, in the Gita, what does Krishna tell Arjun? Krishna ji says, "What you want shall happen. Live it." So, I mean, we now think of this as I'm reading this. I do the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, and it's essentially a conversation between the Devi and Shiva. And when Ma Parvati is asking Shiva various questions of the universe, the meditations do involve visualization. So it's just that we don't look at our culture in that way. There are 112 sadhanas. They're all about how you go about doing it.
But have you noticed that there's no concerted effort per se to preserve those things? Or if preserve maybe, but not even propagate?
Yeah, that's
The younger generation probably has no idea because everybody's perhaps obsessed with that book, The Secret,
Yeah.
Or the idea of manifestation, but not really realizing कि actually शुरुआत कहाँ से हुई?
If you read, so Ma Parvati asks Shiva, what is the universe? It's a very simple question, but a very profound question. And the entire meditation is based on breath work. Now, that's a little different from yoga. It's a little different from yoga, not the breath work that's there in yoga. But it's a very simple question that she asked, but a very profound question, and Shiva answers. He says, your breath going in and your breath coming out. The nanosecond between your breath going in and the breath coming out, if you can be conscious there, you've controlled the universe. And it's such a profound thing. And all the sadhanas are based on breath work. There are, of course, different sadhanas. And in one of the sadhanas, he says, think of yourself as Shiva. You are Shiva. The universe is within you. The stars are within you. What is in the stars are in you. Okay, it's a very simple line that he tells. You are the stars. And we've been mocked. We've been said, कि क्या कह रहे हमारे culture में. Today, science proves you're made of the exact same elements as a star. It's written in that book. It's the 104th sadhana that Lord Shiva tells Ma Parvati. What is in the stars is within you. Today, science has proved it. Can we, if we just go back to our roots, we don't need these fancy terms. And I'll make a funny story because I'm essentially into investments. एक गोरा है मेरे पास कहा कि let's invest, मतलब देसी गोरा. Samir became Sam. I won't take the name, but Desi Gora. So he says, revolutionary, me and my partner. So what are you doing, bro? He says, we're going to sell to India neem toothbrushes with charcoal toothpaste. And I'm like, the f*** we in India always, we use karte the. You told us it's not good. Made us on plastic toothbrushes. Now you're saying that is bad. And a neem toothbrush and the charcoal is organic and natural. What are our forefathers using? And you're selling that to us for $10, just like you're selling yoga to us. So it's crazy how it works.
So now let's get to elections.
Elections.
Bengal में क्या हुआ? What is your opinion? What do you think about the BJP's victory? Got to say it because BJP won it. You got to laud it.
Completely, I do. Whatever I say on TV, the fact of the matter is that this is Shyama Prasad Mukherjee ke dharti par BJP is winning is phenomenal. And I said this on TV. This was the last frontier. वो होता था ना test match में. I don't know how many of your YouTube viewers are test match fans, but Steve Ogg used to say that India is the last frontier to conquest in test match. So West Bengal was the last frontier for BJP to conquest. So they've done that. Two things. The BJP is now no longer a North Indian party. It's prevalent. It's the biggest party in North India, East India, and Western India, and Central India. So the BJP is now a complete pan-Asia party. I do, however, have a problem with how the Election Commission conducted the exercise. Not per se too much of the central forces. That I don't have an issue with. You want free and fair elections. The manner in which the Election Commission treated the opposition is not good. And to me, those 27 lakh people left out, who are disputed. I'm not talking about the entire 90 lakhs. The 27 lakh people, out of which only 1,608 hearings took place, 140 before the elections, 137 were reinstated. Out of 1,608, 1,599 are reinstated. These are small things. Arjun could have been spelled as A-R-R-J-U-N and A-R-J-U-N. You keep somebody out. The entire reason we became an independent country is to the right to choose our own destiny. The Election Commission can't justify this. It's not run. I'm not saying all those 27 lakh were TMC voters. That obviously is not the point. Whichever voters they were, you can't keep 27 lakh people out. That's a huge number in any election. And then the Supreme Court of India, with respect to it, let down those people. Says, look, we may not allow you to vote in this election, but we'll reinstate your right. It's not a charity done by the Supreme Court of India or by the Election Commission that it's okay if you don't vote here, next time you vote. ऐसे नहीं होता है. So to me, that was appalling. However, that still does not mean the BJP would not have won. It's just that these are things that we have to improve on as a nation. We've been known for free and fair elections. This can't happen in our country. It's not acceptable.
But essentially, we realize that it's a major victory for the BJP.
Terrific.
And this was something that BJP had envisioned, I think, many years ago. Amit Shah ji, that all those reels, all those videos from back in the day, because both you and I, we've been essentially living our public lives or whatever we've been doing in our politics, essentially on social media. The TV's out there. And you know that since 2013-14, how Prime Minister ensured that social media was just everywhere and everybody ended up using and accommodating all those things. So that makes it a bigger thing. But what about post-poll violence? The post-poll violence essentially ends up telling ki before elections what was the situation in Bengal.
But it happens all the time. No? It happened during left, it happened during TMC, it's happening now. But see, for this, it's slightly controversial. You can't just blame TMC for this, not because they're doing the violence. If they are, it's the central forces are meant to control it. If you have so many paramilitary forces right now in West Bengal, what are they doing? So yes, those goons are acting like goons, whichever party goons they are, left, Trinamool or BJP. The fact is the central forces are meant to stop that. And this time you had extra paramilitary forces put there. So what are they doing? So, as we shoot this, Suvendu Adhikari ji's PA was shot dead last time, which I tweeted about it. It left me shocked. 3 TMC workers have been killed, which is nobody should be killed. Whether you're TMC, Congress, left, BJP, RSS, Muslim, no one should be killed. This nation does not deserve it. The point is central forces have to be answerable. It can't be allowed to get away there. You can't just blame Mamta ji for it. I'm sure a lot of them could be TMC goons. I'm not disputing that part of it. I am saying the responsibility is the central forces. The responsibility is Kolkata police. An election commission is in control right now. This has to stop, period. They also see videos where they got bulldozed and tried to break a couple of meat shops in Kolkata. It's all rubbish. And particularly when the BJP did such a campaign for the first time pro-meat. I mean, BJP pro-meat campaign kiya. I mean, what a great democracy are we? Just think about it.
Absolutely. But where was Congress in all of it?
Congress was in Kerala.
Congress was in Kerala. Congress, not in Tamil Nadu also.
They won 2 seats, so it's 200% growth. They had more growth than the BJP had.
But in general,
there's one guy called Duggal Saab. वो आपके हरियाणा का ही है, Salim Saab. वो बोले कि Arjun, you see the BJP just had 100% growth, but the Congress had 200% growth. So he will justify that also to the Congress leadership. Duggal Saab.
But what did
Duggal Saab is the biggest mass leader in Haryana.
But what did Pawan Kheda end up doing in Assam then? Do you think there was a conspiracy theory on Twitter? I read somewhere that Supriya ensured that Pawan Kheda, वो एक feed दिया Pawan Kheda just latched onto it and to serve his masters and did not realize that it became such a big blunder.
You know what really is sad in what happened in Assam? Number of things. It started with Hemanta targeting Gaurav's wife and kids. It's not cool. It's just not cool. Whether Gaurav's wife is a Christian or whether she's a British citizen is not Hemanta Dada's problem or a matter of elections. So doing that was terrible. Then Himanta Da going out and saying that Gaurav is a Pakistani agent is terrible. I mean, he's a member of parliament. I don't like the way Gaurav fought these elections, but yeah, he's a member of parliament. ऐसे थोड़ी होता है. If he's a Pakistani agent, what is Amit Shah ji and Ajit Dol ji doing? That deteriorated, and then what happened with Himanta Da's wife is also not good. Politics should not be like this. This is not how we should conduct our politics. To bring in wife, family, I think we've lost that decency, which I think I see. Like you and I, we can be on different ends of the spectrum. We've always been decent and what decent, pleasant with each other. And we've argued ferociously on TV. Why do you have to bring wife, kids, family into this? I think this is just degenerating quickly, and
but do you think it's been happening over the last couple of years?
It's increased in the last few years on both sides. You can't blame one side.
So what do you think is the reason behind it?
I think
it cannot generally be a competitiveness.
I think the hate that the lack of wanting to talk to the other side. I think sometimes the lack of gravitas to raise important points, particularly from the opposition side.
How do you argue lack of talking to the other side? The other side is very much in this side also. There are many Congress leaders who are part of BJP.
So you have to make that effort and talk. This is not enmity. We can be political rivals. You don't have to be personal enemies. There's a difference in the two. And therefore that visual where Priyanka ji went and sat with the Prime Minister and Om Birla in Parliament, the last session, not this one, the last session, was so warming. Because our politics, and this is what India is about. You see what's happening in West Bengal also is the same. No? This anger for each other. Suvendu ji saying, "Mujhe Musalman vote nahi kiya, to main unke liye kaam nahi karuga." You know, and then the anger, Derek O'Brien, the kind of language he used for the Prime Minister and Amit Shah ji, or one of their female MPs saying "Bhag Mota Bhag." Terrible. Like you know, I don't like the BJP politically, but he's my Prime Minister. I can't use that language. Narendra, come here, or for the Home Minister. That post has a certain amount of respect attached to it, and you must respect it. You can't be dismissive of it.
But what do you think, that the TMC has always been that way, or was it a matter of political survival for them in Bengal?
Again, is a degeneration of gravitas. I can make the same point. I'm making all the points against Himanta Da and Suvendu Adhikari ji on your show. You have not blocked me even once. But say it with respect, say it nicely. What is this business? I'm going to attack the Prime Minister on this show. And I've told you about it. But you can say the same thing decently, nicely, and make your point forcefully. You don't have to personally insult. When you personally insult people, that shows you don't have content. I'm very sure of my content. I don't need to. I can give points which I think have logic. You can counter me, or anyone can counter me on logic. And we can agree to disagree and agree on certain points. Why does it have to be bad? Why does it have to be personal? You don't have to bring Himanta Biswa Sharma's wife into an argument. You don't have to bring Gaurav Gogoi's wife or kids into an argument, or what religion they follow, or call the Prime Minister Narendra, or use language like Mota. That's third grade language. And you know, the same MP, when she was suspended the last time, I said this on another podcast. It broke my heart because Mrs. Gandhi was standing next to her, the opposition was standing by her, and she's like, "I will fight the Prime Minister and Home Minister in the gutter. I will go in the gutter and fight it." Ye language nahi hai. It may go viral. You may get, the reels may get views. But this is not what India is about.
But since we've spoken about reels now, but do you think that many young politicians per se, and young politicians ke baad even mature or senior politicians also, for many, politics has in some way become कि वायरल होना है इंस्टाग्राम पे या सोशल मीडिया पे?
बिल्कुल, और इसमें कोई गलत बात नहीं. मैं भी वायरल होना चाहता हूँ. I want this podcast to be viral. But are you, as a responsible person, giving society something to take on? Viral होने के लिए you can do a lot of things.
But ऐसा नहीं, उसी चीज के अंदर में there's always a fine line. The fine line need not be crossed. And वो fine line जो है means different for Tehseen and means different for somebody else.
या but छिछोरापन is छिछोरापन ना. उसमें क्या फाइन लाइन है ब्रो? वो बहुत थिक लाइन है यार. अब छिछोरा, आप बिल्कुल प्रधानमंत्री की आलोचना कर सकते हैं और ठोकर करो आलोचना, बट उनको नरेंद्र बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है ना. तो I think it again, I mean, is your virality because you're mocking somebody, fat-shaming somebody, or is your virality because you're legitimately taking on the concerns of the Home Ministry and CRPF or those forces in Bengal? I think the two are different.
Absolutely.
If I want to fat-shame somebody, the Home Minister, I think that makes you a pathetic human being. I think if I want to question the Home Minister why the central forces acting in a particular way, which I have a right to question, that's a completely different thing. And both can go viral. Again, it depends on your gravitas. You're not getting viral because you're questioning CRPF. You're getting viral because you're fat-shaming the Home Minister. That is not cool. That is my problem. Under the guise of talking about CRPF or the central forces. That's not how. You can do the same thing.
But do you think many political parties today, or many leaders, are generally just endorsing this idea?
They are, because
Well, say there are 10 spokespersons or 10 media panelists of a party, those में से 8 are focusing on this and 2 will be speaking something more sensible.
Because it's instant gratification, instant virality. It's almost like masturbation.
अभी बोला सुबह सुबह शाम तक viral और उसके बाद
It's almost like masturbation. You don't, it's just like fatafat kar do. Where is the effort? Where is the wooing? Where is the reaching the audience? आज वायरल होना, कल वायरल होना, परसों वायरल होना, कुछ भी बोल लो, कैसे भी बोलो. See, there is
leading to a decay in political discourse, na?
Totally.
And this has now gone to the parliament, I believe.
Look at the language in parliament, both sides. This side, look at the language of that same MP I spoke about, a female MP, etc. And again, that MP, she has very good points. She actually has very good points if you hear her. But just the way she speaks it. This side, look at Nishikant Dubey ji's language. I mean, the way he attacked Indira ji and Nehru ji when that whole Rahul ji got the book in for the ex-army chief, the way he attacked him. So I'm just saying that you don't need this language. You can make those same points well and do whatever you want in the reel, but to do it in parliament, which is the fulcrum of our democracy. You know, the other day, and this is an amazing speech. I think Bengal ji was making this speech. He says, देखिए, अब रात हो गई, छपना तो है नहीं मेरा भाषण, मैं सोशल मीडिया पे चला दूंगा. So at least he was honest. But I'm just saying the idea that the audience is dumb is disrespectful to the audience. I think India is very politically aware. I think if you can give them good content, they will consume it. I understand that porn is easier and it sells faster. But this is also a nation that has room for great classics and people understand it. So I just think that you can be commercial, but you can also be classical.
But in general, you are arguing that in general there's a decline in
totally on all sides. Bro, look at TV today, and this is a guy who does 5-6 hours of TV. Fortunately for me, I have managed to keep that line, and people are not disrespectful to me. But look at otherwise TV. Look at both national parties.
I have a look at hoardings. You go from Delhi to Noida. Noida se aate waqt you'll find some hoardings very ridiculous. This was sort of unimaginable 15-20 years ago.
Exactly. So I'm just saying that in society in general, I see this decline. That worries me as a young father, and I think as a young father it will worry you as well, because I don't think there's anything that school can teach my son or your daughter that will be relevant 20 years from now because of technology. But I do think that I want to teach them values, empathy, being kind, sharing. These are the things I want to teach, you know. And then I see this surround sound, which my son will be exposed to at some point, or your daughter will be, particularly in the line we are. And you wonder that, bro, how are you going to protect them from this? Or, you know, you don't want your kids to degenerate. Because my son doesn't care whether you're Congress or BJP. He's 3. He will smile if you're nice to him. He will come running to you. Your daughter doesn't care if you're Hindu or Muslim. And I just want them that they're born in privilege to be able to share, care, be good human beings. And then I see the sound around it, those hoardings, that those commentary, and at some point they will be exposed to it. I don't know how to protect them, and that makes me feel very vulnerable. I don't know how to protect them from that and teach them that that's not where we have to go.
And that's a real risk, no?
That's what makes me vulnerable. And I keep wondering about it because all my life I've been the guy who's sort of gone out and got it. And now, and sort of been this figure that's always been protecting. And now I don't know how to protect my child because I know that this is not good, but I know that he or she, your daughter, will be exposed to it. How do you protect them? How do you say that somebody being abusive in parliament is not cool? Because the person's getting viral. How do you explain the two?
And you wonder why. I wonder, and I ask the same question to you. Okay, how do you manage the situation? Because there are actually no public debates around it. There is no conversation whatsoever. There's just one video. The one video will potentially get viral. उसके बाद conversation खत्म हो जाती है. But essentially, what we are looking at is, it confuses you as to what society you're going to give or prepare for the next generation. I remember I was in conversation, I think it was Namo Book Fest, and somebody asked me a question as to, by 2047, will we have POK back? Essentially, by 2047, I'll be, much older, say 25 years from now or so. And the generation who's going to take lead, who will be shaping what the country thinks of, if the country really wants, will be them. But that imagination, and it just does not stop at POK, it just goes out for everything.
Correct.
When the Prime Minister gives a vision that by 2047 we need a Viksit Bharat, we should work towards Viksit Bharat. It's a great goal. But those great goals, there also are many responsibilities, many challenges. And one of the most important challenges that I see as of today for all young people, because you check our universities, you check our education institutions, you check our schools, it's just everybody is, even academia for that matter. I was discussing with somebody a couple of days ago. I know the guys who are becoming assistant professors today because I've taught them or seen them through activism, etc. And even after becoming an academic, their goal perhaps is not, doing great thing in academia. Many of them, उनका goal अभी भी वही बना हुआ कि अच्छा और activism करके can we get something more? Can we get into DUTA? Can we get into university politics, etc., etc., all those things. Now, that's bonkers on so many levels, because what are we doing with our education institutions? What are we doing with our academia? As in, how are we preparing our society to take on the challenges that are right ahead of us? What is the world going to look like in 2035? It's very close. We started in 2014. The party is in 2026. It's been 12 years. It's just gone like this.
True.
In Bengal elections, viral videos of Shyamit Shahji are sort of everywhere. How he said, okay, Mamta Didi, मैं अमित शाह हूँ. So all those things. आपको समय बदल रहा है और समय इतनी स्पीड में जा रहा है, हम अभी भी ये कॉन्शियसली सोच नहीं पा रहे कि हम क्या सोसाइटी बनाना चाह रहे हैं for the next generation, which is why it becomes important. Why do you think these conversations are not happening?
I think the degeneration of values, that scares me again. Values are completely...
But करा क्या जाए? कि conversations हो भी रही है. So I'm sure that you have these private conversations.
Yeah.
I have these private conversations. But why do you think समाज के अंदर इस तरह की बात क्यों नहीं हो रही है?
And therefore, I think it's a responsibility of leaders, thought leaders, political leaders, other celebrities, to start bringing it in. If you just look at another ancient culture, Japan, look at the public values that they have compared to ours. Very minor things, like look at the metro. और हमारे मेट्रो में छिछोरापन चलते हैं, डांस कर रहे, रील बना रहे, दूसरों को डिस्टर्ब कर रहे, कोई वीडियो देख रहा है लाउड में, प्लेन में देख लीजिए. सो आई एम जस्ट सेइंग दैट एट सम पॉइंट वी नीड टू स्टार्ट नाउ ब्रिंगिंग इन पब्लिक वैल्यूज इन एंड स्टॉप क्रिएटिंग दिस आइडिया ऑफ दबंगी. And also then once that comes in, the conversation must be about accommodating each other towards a common goal, which the Prime Minister described of 2047 as Viksit Bharat. And what exactly does Viksit Bharat mean? Does Viksit Bharat simply mean that you are the second largest economy in the world? Or does it mean our per capita income goes up? Does it mean better quality of life? What does that mean? How does it entitle? Good quality of life also means your private space being respected. Good quality of life also means respect for your thought and points of view. So all of those must be a public discourse, because Viksit Bharat, but it can't be a vague definition as you rightly put it. What is Viksit Bharat? We have not had that conversation. It's great. Prime Minister said it. Everybody's cheering about it. Viksit Bharat, Viksit Bharat. Bhai, hai kya? Aap batao. Who is Viksit Bharat? You and I are Bharat. What do we want? What does the poor man want? Is Viksit Bharat going to be the same Bharat where nepotism thrives? Or is it going to be where opportunity comes based on merit? Is Viksit Bharat going to be the same Bharat where people have to push and shove to get into a local train? Or is Viksit Bharat going to be hundreds of great trains, people forming a line, discipline, going in space? We have to define all of these things. That isn't happening in our conversation right now.
Okay, since you spoke about social media, a quick take on, what do you think about social media ban for younger people?
I think till 16 is good.
Till 16, there should be a ban on social media.
Yeah, they should not be allowed till 16 for the simple reason I'm against freedom being freedom of speech being censored anywhere. But my problem with social media is twofold. If we don't have laws for AI, which we don't in India and also in the world, and in an aspirational world where people see content or fake money or fake glamour of other people, it can lead to depression, suicide, crimes in kids furthermore, or harm them psychologically. So your daughter, my son could see somebody flying private, which could be fake, completely a fake reel, but they think this guy is flying private all the time and we are not, and we're going by bus, for example, and that could just trigger a depression. Or some kid could see a perfect looking girl or guy and it could just be, AI generated image, but they think that their body is not that perfect. And the problems that we faced with Web 2.0 will multiply and magnify with social media and Web 3.0. So unless we don't have a complete solution to that, I think it's better to keep them away. Also, the misinformation on social media, the hate, the bullying, the cybercrime. When Grok came out with that image thing, half of them were putting women in bikinis. So at some point, we'll have to figure out those. We'll have to, to me, Viksit Bharat means India taking the lead with countries across the world with AI, forming laws that are palatable across the world and common laws, because AI-generated crimes could take place in US and the crime venue could be in India. You could have rape porn, you could have revenge porn, you could have intimidation, you could have conning, cheating. How do you solve those crimes? Somebody sitting in the US or Canada could make a digital video of a cop arresting and make people pay money. I'm just giving very basic examples. How do you cross those jurisdictions? How do you have a trial in the country where the crime has happened, even though the citizen may be somewhere else, and sort of get the process of recovering? Now, forget India. Nobody's talking about these things. These are future problems that AI has already started creating. Forget future. These are present problems. To me, Viksit Bharat would mean that India takes the lead in sort of building a common law around this. So even if the crime takes place in China, you know that this is revenge porn, or you know that this is cheating, that somebody's forged an ID and got your money out or whatever, you are able to at least bring justice to the victim, even if it's a cross-nation trial or whatever. But we must have that conversation at some point of time, because this is only going to go worse. So till that time, we don't figure it out. At least till that time, if we can protect kids till they're 16, particularly from fake news, hate news. I want my child to love people. Not think that somebody's wife is a Christian or somebody's wife's a Muslim or somebody's wife's a Hindu. I don't want my child to think that. He doesn't think that right now. So again, it comes to the point where I want to protect till that point.
Acha, going back to elections, what was your best story from Bengal?
So many. There was this 100-year-old person whose vote was cut off. I forgot his name. And then he went to the tribunal and he got his vote back. He's always voted in every Indian election. So that was one of the stories. Old guy, I think 100-plus-year-old. That was a good story. I thought that was so sweet. I also thought just the way democracy itself, not just Bengal, overall, is so strong in India, that over 85-90% people are coming out to vote across the country.
90%?
That's Bengal, but I'm saying overall.
But just 90%, over 90% in Bengal is massively surprising.
And it just goes on to show you how strong democracy is in India, how people are essentially democratic, how they believe in the system. I think one of the images that I found touching, though again I'm not a BJP supporter, was the Arjikar victim's mother crying and the Prime Minister touching her forehead. If you get that visual, you get, and the thing rally he touched. And she was just sitting this way, the Prime Minister, she had tears, and she was doing this to Prime Minister, and he blessed her. To me, I just thought that was such a human moment. मतलब ये एक माँ, forget the politics, उसकी बेटी का जो हाल हुआ था, वो रो रही, and the Prime Minister, the most powerful man in the country, is saying, I'm there with you. It's such a touching. Again, I'm anti-BJP, वरना वो उतना वो जो हमारे है ना, हमारे साइड पे जो कट करने वाले हैं ना, उतना कट करते बोल देंगे मैं बीजेपी को सपोर्ट करता हूँ. But just a human emotion के यार एक माँ है यार, वो रो रही है, और Prime Minister is there. It just gives you so much hope in what a common man can, the accessibility for a common man. I think these are great human stories to see from another lens.
I think if I have to, in some way, and it's very difficult, it's no way trying to summarize the Prime Minister also. But Prime Minister, and I was in a debate, I think in 2024, and I'd written about this in my book also, that Prime Minister has touched so many lives in so many ways each way is different from the other one. So, for instance, when he goes somewhere, he meets a different set of people while he's on his way to the airport. At the airport, on the plane, there might be some people. Out of the plane, he's meeting some set of people. Then he goes to the venue, there he's meeting some people. On the stage, he's meeting some other people. And then he's interacting with a lot of other people. Then this very emotional moment, what you made a mention of, इतनी सारे तरीके बना दिए हैं लोगों के जीवन को छूने के, which is what makes this man really special. कि if you see it one from a human angle, which you describe so very beautifully, but then you also see that politically, his dharma is to win the election, and he is doing it by ensuring that every person that he can possibly touch, he will do that. And that's what makes a man remarkably special, because elections are not easy. Politics is not easy at all. And I think that brings me to the next question. What do you think about Rahul Gandhi?
He's a good guy.
He's a
good guy, yeah. The leader of opposition, he's a good guy.
That answers it.
No, I do believe.
Is he somebody who is in the wrong place? It's not his time, or it's not his position, because as a leader of opposition, as leader of a party which represents the grand old party of the country, there's a lot more work that requires, because politics, elections, people's expectations have massively changed, evolved over the last many decades now. जनता जो कल चाह रही है या फिर 10 साल पहले चाह रही थी जनता, वो आज नहीं चाह रही. आज के एम्बिशंस, आज के एक्सपेक्टेशंस सब चेंज हो चुके हैं. इनफैक्ट इन लास्ट 4 or 5 years, what social media and AI has done in the last 2 years or 1 year essentially is massively different. And do you think that the leader of opposition, if you want to call Rahul Gandhi leader of the opposition,
but he is the leader of the opposition.
So do you think he understands that game really well?
I don't know if he understands the game or no. But, he obviously got a lot of success, 99 seats. He is the LOP. He's worked hard. So that's with the Bharat Jodo Yatra.
When we call success, we also make success a comparison.
Sure. Right. Which is what I was coming to. But, see, I'm a political animal, right? ये ठीक है यार, 99 सीट मिल गए, पर वो सामने वाला तीसरी बार प्रधानमंत्री बना. My aim is not moral victory. My aim is real victory. Rahul ji's ideas are very noble, and I do appreciate. That's why I said he's a great guy, he's a good guy. But to implement those ideas, I have to be in power. अगर मुझे संविधान बचाना है तो पहले सत्ता में आना होगा ना. अगर मुझे इलेक्शन कमीशन में रिफॉर्म करना है, which I think his ideas are phenomenal, those ones, or good ones. I haven't heard the idea. The point is well taken. The ideas I haven't heard his ideas. But if you want to make reforms, you have to be in power. Reforms don't happen without being in power, no? Reforms don't happen on fantasy. They happen on real power. Real power is what runs the country. I always tell people, what matters is the ability to have the power, but to know that you have the power. The rest all it's all great being a good guy and having noble ideas. Ramji also had very noble ideas. कि I have to cross the ocean, राम सेतु बनाना है, माँ सीता को ले आना है. 3 दिन तक वरुणा जी की पूजा की, अर्चना की. वरुणा जी didn't listen to him. तीसरे दिन ब्रह्मास्त्र निकाला, bro. Varuna ji came in his feet. Sorry, make the Ram Setu. Power is also meant to show. Ramji, nobody can be a better person than Maryada Purushottam. But 3 days, Varuna ji didn't listen to him. Well, Vishnu के अवतार थे. देव उनकी बात नहीं सुन रहे. तीसरे दिन पे आ गए ना. You have to, power is meant to show. Power is meant to transform. Power is meant to use. If you don't, when Krishna ji went to Hastinapur to build a bridge and to tell the Pandavas and the Kauravas not to fight, and he went to the Kauravas, just give 5 villages to the Pandavas, Duryodhan tried to tie him up. Krishna ji showed his Virat Swarup and told him, bro, now see what happens. This is what will happen, and you will repent. You have to show power. Power is meant to show. Power is meant to make changes. If you look at the Mahabharata from a very Western perspective, Arjuna is telling Krishna, we should not fight. Why should we have destruction? And to a person who doesn't understand Indian philosophy, he'll say, what a nice guy Arjuna is. He doesn't want war. And yet Krishna is telling Arjuna, no, that is what you have to do.
That's your dharma.
That's your dharma. Because unless you don't do it, dharma won't be established. So to understand that, don't look at it from a Western point of view of good and bad. Look at it from a complex point of view of what is your dharma. And the dharma of the Congress party is to be a strong opposition to the BJP. Because this country doesn't elect just the government, it also elects the opposition. It is my duty to question this government. I am here to question this government. I will fail in my dharma if I don't question the government. It is my duty to put them on the mat. It is my duty to make them uncomfortable. It is my duty to question them so the life of the people of this country improve. So one thing is being great and one thing is having noble thoughts. The other thing is actually getting into that battlefield and doing it. You have to go into the Kurukshetra and fight.
But do you think he's able to do it? Because one, the results don't particularly show it. But in general, organizational level, is there consistency of thought? Is there consistency of alliances and partnerships? Because essentially, TMC and Congress have been partnering for a long time. DMK and Congress have been partnering for a long time. And here we say that Congress has extended support to TVK.
Yeah.
So what is happening here?
Going back to the TVK fact in Tamil Nadu, what a phenomenal...
Absolutely. I mean, there are many Congress leaders. I think Karthi Chidambaram was here a while back and I asked him this question, that do you think that there's potential? Do you think that Vijay is going to be a big factor? It remains to be seen. We'll see what happens.
Yes, apparently the father and son were amongst those who wanted DMK alliance and didn't want Congress to initially go with TVK as per social media chatter. But they are politicians, they'll change. They'll say no.
Essentially, in their understanding also as to what alliances are and what it yields, TVK's success is massive, to say the least.
In my opinion, these results are against nepotism. Stalin, Abhishek Banerjee, and Gaurav Gogoi. It's also, so then you'll say, okay, why is BJP winning? It's not like BJP is not a nepotistic party. BJP is getting as nepotistic as the Congress is. Not at the topmost level, I get it, but BJP totally down is nepotistic. Just look at your Haryana. सारे जिसको लेते हैं उस बाप बेटे बेटी सबको ले लेते हैं आपके गुरुग्राम में पता है आपको सब आ जाते हैं and they fight and get their kids also tickets and BJP देती है तो सम्राट चौधरी जी. So BJP is as nepotistic now and now reaching the top. It started from bottom, it's reaching the top. But I think what the people of India want is fresh ideas, new ideas. They don't want the baggage. I think the BJP is winning right now for one and one reason only. That is the aura and charm of Prime Minister Modi. And you feel free to disagree with me. Beyond that, I don't think the BJP is as much different as from the Congress.
Not the Sangh? Are you discounting?
No. Sangh is the organization. Yeah, वो तो फिर चाहिए ना संगठन.
RSS is a must. But RSS के ऊपर BJP as a political party, you are arguing
the Prime Minister, the icing on the cake. But then, again with the organization you see in Tamil Nadu, वे भी था ना संगठन का था TVK के पास, ठीक है, उसके तो fans थे. So, but then again there's a commonality. The passion with which Sangh works is the passion with which TVK's fans worked. So, वो भी होना चाहिए. But beyond all of it, you can build a perfect organization. You would need the people need a calling, an attractive figure, an X factor to attract you. That X factor was Vijay. So I just think that beyond the conventional politics now, people in India do want a new kind of politics, which in my opinion the BJP is also not doing. It's just that it doesn't have competition right now, in my opinion. Eventually, with the success of Vijay, if more people do come up, the BJP may also find itself in a spot of bother. The BJP actually lost vote share in Tamil Nadu, which comes to another very interesting point. Annamalai saw that that there was a space in. So and Abhijit Iyer Mitra made a phenomenal line. We did this podcast the other day with Smita Prakash, the ANI podcast. And he said, look, Annamalai cooked half the dish and then Vijay just took it. Because Annamalai rightly saw that there was another space beyond the Tamil politics, which he tried to bring up. And of course, the success then, and Vijay just took the whole thing. Of course, Vijay would bring more diverse votes than Annamalai because maybe the Muslims and the Christians would not vote for Annamalai as they did for Vijay. So I do get all of that. I'm not making it. I'm just saying that Annamalai saw that. He took the alliance to 18% vote. and he was removed. And now Vijay said.
Fair point, because you've seen this about a decade ago also. Anna Hazare started the anti-corruption movement.
Sorry, Anna, but Anna is, see, you get me on Anna, I think Anna Hazare ji, and that IAC movement is a bunch of fraud movement. So I'm very clear, it's a fraud movement. But yeah, BJP benefit, but it's a fraud movement. And Anna Hazare
What do you think about Arvind Kejriwal, by the way? Was we have to agree to hate him?
ऐसा कोई सगा नहीं जिसको केजरीवाल जी ने ठगा नहीं. तो अब जो व्यक्ति कहते थे कि मैं जो शीला जी के बाथरूम में एसी है नहीं उसकी आरटीआई डालते थे, उन्होंने शीश महल बनाया जिसके कमोड लोग कहते 70,000 से लेकर 1.5-2 लाख के कमोड थे. तो सवाल ये, सी पॉइंट इज नॉट दैट. इफ यू जस्ट गो बैक एंड आई वांट योर व्यूअर्स टू अंडरस्टैंड समथिंग. What was that Anna movement? Because, you know, we've now known Arvind Kejriwal ji. If you go back to the genesis of that problem, that IAC movement, which very few people talk about, and you'll remember this, Arjun, they were fighting for a Lokpal, which gratefully and thankfully they didn't bring in Delhi, Punjab, or in this country. But has anyone read that Lokpal draft which I read then in 2010, 2011? That Lokpal made the Prime Minister answerable to a Lokpal, made Supreme Court judges answerable to a Lokpal. And the definition of a Lokpal, who will be a Lokpal, will be a decent, well-mannered person in society, a good person. What the fuck does that even mean? So the Prime Minister of 1.4 billion Indians will be answerable to a guy who's unelected and unelectable. And Supreme Court judges. That's exactly like the NAB in Pakistan, the National Accountability Bureau. And you know, in Pakistan, again, I hate Pakistan, don't cut and troll. Now this is for the right-wingers that I'm praising Pakistan. Nawaz Sharif was a democratically elected Prime Minister, whatever their democracies. So Supreme Court ने उसको summon किया. Imran Khan was democratically elected Prime Minister. The High Court summoned him. Do we want whoever our Prime Ministers to be summoned by Supreme Court and High Court? That day is not for, that is what that Lokpal did. And we as Indians are cheering that. Can you believe what Anna Hazare and that gang were up to? This would have destroyed our democracy. It's crazy. Everything that we built, they were on that Lokpal saying that, oh, we'll have a Lokpal who will oversee everything. Who the f is this Lokpal? Where does he come from or she come from? Why does she oversee everything? Because she's like supposedly a respected person in society. What the f does that even mean?
And in hindsight, one wonders how many cases with a lot of Supreme Court judges are also embroiled in their own controversies, where that most respect to the Supreme Court judges also.
And you know, one thing that the BJP and Congress has to do is do judicial reforms. And I'm telling you, bro, the day is not far. You will summon the Prime Minister for something stupid. And the Prime Minister of 1.4 billion people will be standing in court in front of judges. वो दिन दूर नहीं है. And it's happened in Pakistan. This cannot happen in a democracy. I am not ruling away from the rights of the court. I think the courts have absolute right where fundamental rights are taken away to immediately restore it over the government. But Supreme Court is seeing if SPG's breached, what was the breach in Prime Minister's security in Punjab? But with respect to the judges, what is their expertise? And they're summoning SPG. This should be Ajit Dovalji's job, not the Supreme Court. But it works for BJP and Congress. It works for both. Court ने कह दिया, we can't go against the court. अरे court क्यों कहेगा भाई? आप सरकार में हो, आप करो. So unless we don't have these reforms, judicial reforms, this nation can't progress.
But do you think there's a path forward with regards to judicial reforms?
You have to, because again, I'm not saying end the collegium system. I do understand the collegium system.
नहीं, मैं generally just think of it in practical terms कि हमारे देश के अंदर, हम दिल्ली में बात करते हैं, दिल्ली के अंदर अलग-अलग जो भी एग्जीक्यूटिव और लेजिस्लेटिव और जुडिशियल, उनके देयर आर पीपल हु आर एट द हेल्प, अलग-अलग ने पावर स्ट्रक्चर्स को संभाले हुए हैं, उसको प्रिजर्व कर रहे हैं, इंश्योर कर रहे हैं कि उनकी आगे वाली जनरेशंस को पसे जाए, राइट? This we've seen in the case of Supreme Court judges also. I don't need to mention the number of cases because it was plastered all across the newspapers, but एक दिन आता है, अगले दिन गायब हो जाती है. No conversation whatsoever related to judges at all.
Correct.
There are many conversations which have happened over social media. In general, I am just generally arguing many of my viewers, if not all of them, would agree to this. Largely, if you check Twitterati, you check social media, people in general are arguing that yes, it's perhaps time. The lower courts are full of cases. The cases are dragging, no nonsensical cases which clearly, can find a solution in the, court of law. but then those cases don't get resolved for 10, 12, 13, 13, 14, 14 years. And anybody questions the courts on this, it becomes
Contempt. So I have a solution for this when I'm going to run government. I'm going to increase the age of retirement of judges, but in the beginning, hire retired judges. So I'll make that constitutional amendment and take the vans as courts to the bastis where the cases are. You're right, the lower courts are choked with stupid cases. And 60-70% of them are family cases, stupid cases that have gone on for 10, 12 years. You take it there, वहीं resolve कर दो. So instead of the person coming to court, let the court come. So let's say Sarita Vihar in Delhi. सारे केसेस आएंगे, 3 कोर्ट के वैन्स आएंगे, जज वहां बैठेगा, वहां पे केस ठप 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 खत्म, समाप्त 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 समाप्त. Number 2, which is a larger reform I want to do, is we will have 4 Supreme Courts in India: North India, South India, East India, West India. We're going to have Central India. And the court in Delhi will be the constitutional court. वो सिर्फ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की बात करेगा. तो योर फाइनल अपील इज द कोर्ट इन से वेस्टर्न इंडिया. सो महाराष्ट्र, गुजरात केसेस, गोवा केसेस कम टू दिस. इसके बाद आप नहीं जा सकते अनलेस इट्स अ रियल मैसिव मैटर ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल थिंग, इट विल कम हियर. आज हमारे टुडे आवर सुप्रीम कोर्ट इज सिटिंग ऑन बेल, ब्रो. वेदर इट इज a right winger's bail or a left winger's bail, Supreme Court is sitting on bail. It is not the job of Supreme Court to be sitting on bail. Courts are not protecting fundamental rights. जितना बड़ा आदमी है तो कहता है बड़े कोर्ट में चले जाना, वहां बेल ले लेना, मैं नहीं दूंगा. This is not how courts are. Supreme Court sitting on bail rather than constitutional matters. ये क्या बात हुई? So we will have to make these reforms. Otherwise, we will not grow, bro, at 10-11% to end poverty and to increase per capita income. 8% growth तो हो ही जाएगा, 7.5-8% growth हो जाएगा. 140 करोड़ की आबादी, 150-160 करोड़ हो जाएगी. But is that percolating down to everyone? Is the per capita income going up from $2,500, $2,700, जो भी वर्तमान में है, to the $20,000-$30,000 per capita income that we require? For that, we require unchoking and unblocking of the judiciary. And one more thing, judiciary can't be taking economic decisions in a vacuum.
But do you think it's also a human problem?
It is.
क्योंकि लोग जो आ रहे हैं, do they want the cases to be resolved also?
At some point we'll have to take these calls that you'll have to fasten up the process and add an end to it so that this thing cannot be dragged on.
Government cannot intervene. Government cannot ask the courts to make jaldi cases.
No. You can bring in laws, na? If you've taken, for example, if I've taken the court itself to Sarita Vihar rather than them moving to the court, this is it. You can't appeal. These can't be appealed beyond these. You narrow the definition of appeal and you close it like it happens in your tribunals. You have to take these decisions. Unless you don't take it, how will we grow at 10-11%? And if there is a genuine fundamental right that is being violated, courts should be by force mandated to rule in favor of liberty, so that the guy doesn't have to go up to the Supreme Court. This should be our process. We have inverted the process. And I'm sorry to say, even this government, ED mein, you're guilty till you prove yourself innocent. Kya nonsense chal raha hai? So this is not how a country should run. Today, ED comes in the limelight because of politicians. But you know the amount of businessmen harassed by ED? And this is not good for our economy. Income tax, GST. GST has become an extortion department. This is the greatest reform the Prime Minister did, GST. This department has become an extortion department. किसी में हिम्मत नहीं है बोलने को. आपकी किस देश में GST criminalized है? भारत में. क्यों? Now it's become an extortion department. ये कर दो. They have targets. Your income tax, you have not increased your personal income tax pool beyond 6-7%. उन्हीं लोगों पे रीड होता है, उन्हीं लोगों पे परेशानी होती है. मैं नहीं कह रहा वो गलत नहीं कर रहे, बट आई एम सेइंग बाकी यार 100 करोड़ के गुरुग्राम में घर ले रहे, वो कौन सा इनकम टैक्स भर रहे हैं? 100 करोड़ के का बिल्डिंग 10 मिनट में सोल्ड आउट हो रहा. कितने तो 200 लोग, कितने लोग भारत में 10 करोड़ के ऊपर इनकम टैक्स भरते? उसी बिल्डिंग वाले को आप, यू आर नॉट वाइडनिंग द नेट ना, and you're harassing the same people who are paying. So at some point, we need to now get into these reforms. So these are things that we'll have to talk as beyond Congress, BJP, as Indians and the political party. This is where our earlier conversation, we have to build bridges, because parties will come and go, governments will come and go, prime ministers will come and go. At one point, you never thought you could have in India without Nehruji. Today, we can't imagine in India without Modiji. But Modiji will also retire at one point and you will have another prime minister. What will remain is India, and what we should be committed to is India's progress. And that goes beyond party lines. Why aren't we looking at the 90% of the things that India requires to go forward? 10% you and I can fight on. You can disagree that GST mein criminalization chahiye. I can say nahi chahiye. We can disagree on that, but GST does need reforms we can agree on and take a way forward. You can disagree कि यार ये 6% पे ठीक कार्रवाई हो रही है, and I can say नहीं गलत हो रही है. But we both can agree that we need to increase the income tax pool. So why can't we go about at least those points?
Rather than making conversations very partisan or just pro certain party and anti certain party, let's have conversations which are perhaps say India centric. Now, since we're talking about it and since we've spoken a bit about Kerala, what do you have to say about the death of the left?
I'm happy. I'm elated. Left is like the parasites. Not left, the communism. India will always be left. BJP is also left. Economically, BJP is more left than Manmohan Singh was. The communists. Because nowhere in the world has communism succeeded. So I'm very happy that the left is over. Left politics should remain. And I like progressive left politics to the extent that we are a poor country, so there will always be room for left politics, which is how it is. Though I am personally a capitalist and I want welfareism. I want, in fact, more welfareism. So I think welfareism should increase in our country, not decrease. But this business of communism must end. You know, very few people know this. बहुत आसान होता है कहने के ये हिटलर ये वो. Hitler was a communist. Very few people know.
Nazi is a socialist party.
Socialist party. So ultimately, wherever there has been this advent of left-wing, extreme left-wing, you've not had freedom of speech, you've not had progress, you've not had economic growth. That has to end. The left will have to transform into becoming a centrist, towards a centrist. Your policies can be left, and I think that's perfectly legitimate. But communism has no space in India. Not with this aspirational India that elected Vijay based on reels. India's changed. So there's no space for that. And you know, a lot of times Nehru is wrongly blamed for being a extreme left person. Of course, he took over a country that was poor and all the problems that he faced. And again, you can agree.
Leftist ideology was also on the rise.
Yeah, but Nehru himself was not completely for socialism. If that would have been the case, Nehru would have made agriculture, which is private, into a government monopoly. He never did that. He encouraged private agriculture, always remained private. So we must understand the complexities of India. It's a very complex country. Think about a poor person in a village in Bihar. It is my duty as government to give him food. He can't be left away from food because you have good food. So that is not communism. But it is not my duty to give people scooties to ride. Or as Vijay gave 8 grams gold. That's not my duty. My duty is to give the best education. Your daughter, my son, and this fellow's child, if he has, must have the exact same quality education. Education must be free. Healthcare should be world-class and free. Transportation should be free. Protein should be free. Beyond that, pay for everything. Maybe subsidize it. I'm not against subsidizing. But this is what welfareism should look like. You and I should take the same metro. There should be abundance of public transport, world-class, free of cost. After that, if I want to drive a Bentley or a BMW, that's my choice. I'm not against stopping that. But as a government, I must be for welfareism. So we must spend more on welfareism. I'm not saying reduce. But at the same time, we must ensure that private enterprise thrive. If I want to send my child to a private school despite world-class government schools, that should be my choice. And let the school owner take profit home. They're also doing business. Why should they not be allowed to take money home? Then they will cheat. So we must look at these reforms now economically.
So do you think enough has happened of course not enough has happened, there's always scope for improvement. But do you think there's a visible change in education and healthcare sector over the last 10 years?
No. It's worsened. Especially healthcare. See, the BJP tom-toms Ayushman Bharat. Except for Delhi, and let your viewers do this, go to any of the big cities, forget villages, and see which of the big hospitals are taking Ayushman Bharat. None of the big hospitals mostly are taking it. And the reason is that the central government, a lot of places, money is pending to be paid. And I've spoken to multiple owners of private hospitals. Of course, state governments have their own schemes as well. But Ayushman Bharat, a lot of hospitals have not tied up. The number that was in the beginning has come down. A lot of hospitals, private hospitals have opted out of it because payment nahi aa raha hai. That's the primary thing. Rates are so low. So they are not going for it. So at some point, again, we can say that TK Ayushman Bharat is one aspect. Where are the huge number of big hospitals that have come up all across India? So there are things that we have to work on our healthcare, on our educational policy. The new educational policies created so much controversy. But beyond the stupidity of removing Mughals or keeping Mughals or 2 language or 3 language, can you tell me whether this new education policy, how does it talk about AI which is relevant to your daughter and my son? There's nothing in it. And I've read that policy. I mean, there is a mention of it. Where is that policy? Where is it taking us? So we are not preparing our kids for 20 years now. We are doing politics on it. Both sides. I'm not blaming only the BJP. 2 language, 3 language, or Mughal, non-Mughal is serving everyone's purpose. But is that the purpose of the new education policy, or to prepare citizens for the 21st century and for the next generation? Mm-hmm. Where is that new education policy on AI? What are our finance laws on AI tech, fintech? वो बता दो कोई मुझे इतना कोई बता दे भाई क्रिप्टो देश में लीगल है या इलीगल है, बेसिक बता दो. क्रिप्टो पे निर्मला जी टेक्स टैक्सेस बट क्रिप्टो इलीगल है, तो दरोगा जी तय करेगा कि मुझे जेल में जाना है या नहीं.
एंड बेटिंग.
Acha,
since we've spoken this and we've been speaking about these multiple issues over a while, let's talk about Haryana a bit. And I want to use
your
Haryana,
favorite state.
Haryana as a case in point as to understand how Congress is operating. Because, see, in 2024, many observers knew that it was a complex election.
Correct.
Out of 10 seats, 5 seats, Haryana ke andar Congress had won. And it was generally believed that it's the best chance for the Congress party to come to power in Haryana. That did not happen. And I've written extensively about it, how that did not happen. But let's just talk about today what is happening in Haryana. What do you think about the state of affairs in Haryana? What is your opinion?
Congress or the
BJP,
state?
the government in power.
Terrible government. You think Nayab Singh Saini ji can run the government there? Just look at your showcase city, Gurugram. How it's deteriorated. यार 100 करोड़ का घर, 50 करोड़ का घर, व्हाट इज द क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ? आप बाहर निकलो, कूड़े में आप हो, पानी में जाओ, आपको शॉक लग जाएगा, मर जाओगे. एम्बुलेंस आते आते ट्रैफिक जैम में फंस जाएगी. पोल्यूशन इस लेवल का, वाटर इज नॉट क्लीन. दिस इज योर मिलेनियम सिटी. माफियाज ऑल ओवर, लैंड माफिया. Look at the encroachment. It's just terrible.
What is the government?
Look at the kuda on the road. Government, I mean, Nayab Singh Saini, frankly, is a failure as a chief minister. He's a terrible chief minister of Haryana, but in Gurugram is completely deteriorated underneath him. And I'm saying Gurugram because it's a point where people understand it's a reference point to Haryana, it's the starting point of Haryana from Delhi. So, I mean, look at how the city is completely gone. What is, you know, and I mean this with the greatest of respect. At one point, I did think of buying a house in Gurugram. And then I was like, yaar, इतना पैसा एक तो पहला है नहीं मेरे पास, पर उतना लोन बिन लेकर why do I want to live this quality of life? Why? And it's easier to just invest abroad, where the quality of life is better. At least I'm not dying of pollution. At least if I fall down on the road, an ambulance will reach me in 5 minutes and take me to a government hospital. Look at the state of the government hospitals in Gurugram. So this is not how administration should be run. I'm sorry. Haryana is deteriorated under the BJP. But the problem is the Congress is not. Whereas when those traffic jams are happening, or when the rains fell and Haryana was under flood, where was the Congress protesting? It should have been on the streets protesting. Where was it? The Congress is also dead. Tell me, and you're from Haryana, tell me the last big protest you saw of the Congress in Haryana.
Of the Congress, man.
When there are so many issues that I have listed here, it's a terrible government, terrible chief minister. What is the protest?
Abhi Brajendra Singh ji is going on a Sadbhav Yatra. Sadbhav Yatra.
Yeah.
And uske andar, matlab, it's a, I mean, the Congress leaders, Bhupendra Singh Hooda ji has gone on camera and said there is a private yatra. It's not a Congress yatra. He's going about it. He's doing it. It's, you know, he found joy in it. He's going ahead with it.
But Hooda ji se bhi mera, matlab Hooda ji with everything and all, his differences with Shailaja ji cost us in the elections. I don't want to be uncensored. Yeah, bro, I'm beyond the point of being uncensored now and being politically, like, you know, not take names. So I'm just, I mean, he shouldn't have had those problems. फिर आपने that assembly elections, the last day got Ashok Tower in. Like, what is Ashok Tawar's contribution? And look at the language Ashok Tawar used for Sonia ji, and then you got him on the last day because Shailija ji went away, so you thought suddenly, then you realized, look, the SC community which had come to us has gone away. You know, I'll tell you
It made Ashok Tawar's life very I don't know यार, वो unlucky man है, तो मैं ऐसे फील होता है ना कि just जहाँ जा रहे हैं वहाँ हार रहे हैं.
Bro, मेरे को एक बताओ, what is his political mass leadership also? So the thing is that it's everything here. I mean, just look at how the Congress has done badly in, even in Haryana, and how it's not lived up to the expectations, despite the government being as bad as it is. I mean, the 2024 after the Lok Sabha results, 5-5, they should have just been a sweep for the Congress. And I'll tell you one thing. Near Gurugram, there is, you will know, for your viewers, there's a place called Mahendragarh and all, which is Yadav villages. Yeah. Now the Yadav brothers and sisters were very upset with the BJP because हरियाणा चुनाव के पहले एक एनकाउंटर हुआ था लखनऊ में. आप विजुअल्स डाल देना, फेमस वो चप्पल में उसने एनकाउंटर किया था, जिन्होंने ज्वेलरी दुकान को लूटा था, उसमें से वो जो जिनका एनकाउंटर हुआ था वो यादव था, वो लड़का. तो चप्पल में गोमती के पास एनकाउंटर हुआ था. एंड द यादव्स वर अपसेट दैट बॉस, ठीक है, he may have stolen, but एनकाउंटर ऐसे चप्पल में, a stage murder, you knew it. I saw with my own eyes during the election top BJP leaders going to the Yadav villages, पंचायतों में गए, बात की उनसे, कहा कि वापस आ जाओ, because Yadavs are BJP voters in Haryana. It's paradoxical, they vote SP, but here they are. So I saw it with my eyes. Where was Congress? Why did Akhilesh Yadav ji not do a rally there? Why did Tejaswi not do a rally there? Congress should have got these guys, no? कि आप जाओ यादव भाइयों को ले आइए. Had we got that combination, we'd have got few seats. The entire Gurugram area swept by BJP. And just after the assembly elections, there were the local elections for mayors. 10 में से 9 मेयर बीजेपी जीती. मानेसर की मेयर इंडिपेंडेंट थी, वो एक्स बीजेपी थी, बीजेपी में चले गई. Congress got 0 in a state like Haryana. 15 years ago, would you have imagined BJP in Haryana? 15 years ago, bro, you're from BJP, you're from Haryana, and you follow BJP. 15 years ago, 15 years Congress will be out of power in Haryana. And Haryana's deteriorated. That's the incompetence of the opposition. And that is terrible because we have a bad government and we have a bad opposition.
And what's the solution out of it? Because यहाँ पे
solution is somebody like me has to come in who now thinks, I'm not saying me, I'm saying somebody who's now beyond this nonsense of conventionality. You have to talk about the state, the country, and move forward. And we are in a hurry, bro. We have to start moving. India will be left behind. This is India's greatest opportunity to grow. If we don't capture this decade and a half, we will never be a top economy country. You can sure be proud of 4th largest economy, 3rd largest economy. What is your per capita income? It is our duty to end poverty. It is our duty to make people rich. We'll have to change this. We have to give people good infrastructure. We have to give people a good lifestyle. The transition is happening from conventional to AI and tech driven. If we miss this bus, we will be decades behind. This 15 years is our time now. And we have to go beyond the stupidity of what's happening between BJP Congress. Bus karo yaar isko. We have to get new ideas in.
But अभी जैसे for instance, the reason I ask you this question is क्योंकि ब्रजेंद्र सिंह यात्रा कर रहे हैं. भूपेंद्र सिंह हुड्डा ने वो बोला कि भाई ये तो प्राइवेट यात्रा हो गई. ब्रजेंद्र सिंह still continued his yatra all around the state. बीच में वो बाहर भी गए थे. Now he's back. The yatra was supposed to end around 6th of May. But I think on the 8th, now Rahul Gandhi ji is joining the yatra. So there's, you see कि the tallest leader और या फिर जिनकी कांग्रेस पार्टी के अंदर पूरी अच्छी चलती है हरियाणा के अंदर, वो are not really, it's not a Congress yatra. But the national leadership of Congress party just comes in and says...
That's the point, bro. That is the point. Secondly, bro, see...
Because ये organizational जिस तरह से काम करते हैं. In fact, I'll say this about Congress in Haryana also, by the way. Congress has no organization in Haryana. No organization. Congress के अंदर I've known leaders जिन्होंने जो BJP के लिए काम कर रहे थे, and they've given their last 10 years to the BJP and they shifted to Congress and they are sitting in their drawing room and like, there's no work at all in the Congress party. If nobody wants to work, there's no accountability, nobody questions you, you just live your life happily, and when elections are around, 3 months ago, you start meeting people.
But that has now changed in India, which the Congress hasn't realized. Elections will not be won by doing these rallies and all. It may work for Prime Minister Modi, because even now he remains that big politician, one step ahead of everyone else. So unke liye log aa jayenge ro.
Now he does that, every day, over the last over 10 years, he's never been out of news.
But exactly, you stole over someone. But वो 24 घंटे सिर्फ सियासत करते हैं. वो 24 घंटे सब जगह आपको दिखते हैं. वो 24 घंटे, जैसे आपने शुरुआत में कहा, वो एक बूढ़ी माँ से भी मिलते हैं, वो एक इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट से भी मिलते हैं, वो इलॉन मस्क से भी मिलते हैं, वो फ्रांस में AI के ऊपर बात भी करते हैं, वो टैक्स पे भी बात करते हैं, and he does his political animal where he insults the people, whatever, और parliament भी करते हैं. But beyond that, so he's 24/7 in your face. You're getting something about Modi ji. You like it, dislike it, agree, disagree. Modi ji, it's versus Modi ji. So Modi ji remains there. For anyone to come versus Modi ji, this do one rally and go away nahi chalega. There has to be an idea of how you're going to be different from Modi ji. How you're going to have ideas that are going to take this nation forward. And like you said, Haryana Congress is dead. Who's responsible? Who benefits if the organization does not revive? So I think these are things that the Congress will have to think about. And not just the Congress, everybody will have to think about it, all opposition. Because if you don't have a strong Sangathan, and you don't have a leader in, say, in Haryana who can make you win a vote, Nayab Singh Saini ji is not a mass leader by all stretches of imagination. But Sangathan was stronger. Bhupinder Hooda ji is a mass leader without doubt. But there's so much divisions and there's no organization. You need a combination of both. So Nayab Singh Saini ji can get away because of Modi ji comes. And the Sangathan is strong. For Hooda ji, if he's the face, the Sangathan is not strong, you'll not win. You may win one odd wave election like Vijay won. But Vijay will not be able to replicate this success, say, even in a neighboring state of Karnataka or Kerala, just on his star power, without a Sangathan. A wave will help you once, but without that, then you need a Sangathan.
He'll need that Sangathan to be built right now.
Right now.
And flourish it over the next 5 years so that in the next elections, he's able to win the election again.
Because the wave एक ही बार होता है. उसके बाद नहीं होगा.
But do you think Tamil Nadu के अंदर भी wave ही था? It's just
107 over. Yeah, bro. I mean, what a tsunami. And I'll be honest, I've attacked Vijay in the beginning. Why should I lie about it? But I'm impressed, bro. Like, yeah, I'm happy.
Doing it, yeah. Somebody's doing it.
And I'll be honest.
There's that quote now, मेरे सीने में नहीं सही, तेरे सीने में सही हो कहीं भी आग just that if somebody could do it, because otherwise you think that it's unimaginable. In a state where there are so many tall leaders in Congress party, in DMK, ADMK, these are legacies. And वो सारी legacies को हटा के there's a new force coming in. It's just magical in its own way.
And so obviously in BR I was supporting Tejasvi and Congress. But after the elections got over, I spoke about it. I spoke about it in a couple of X spaces. I have admiration and respect for PK. I don't like PK as a person. Not met him personally, but as a thing, I don't like too many of the things. But I have only respect and admiration for PK. And I'll tell you why. यार कितने लोगों में हिम्मत है यार. वो 100 करोड़ कमा रहा था ना एक कंसल्टेंसी से. उसको छोड़ा ना उसने. उसके बाद जाकर अपना संगठन बनाया. 3 साल बिहार में रहा, मेहनत की, घूमा, अपने पैसे से चुनाव लड़ा. ठीक है, होगा पॉलिटिकल पार्टी का पैसा या जिसका, बट किया ना. कितने लोगों में वो गट से करने में. I mean, you ask me, would I take that jump? And I'm like, I have a comfortable life, which I do want to, and I'm like, but the thought comes, yaar, what if I lose everything? Yaar, that man had the balls to do it. I have only respect for PK. I have tremendous respect. Before that, I used to attack PK also. But I have respect, yaar. That's
like
what...
Electorally, politically, you might want to attack him.
But himmat hai, yaar, wo karne mein, Vijay mein, whatever I attacked him. Boss, he did it. PK couldn't do it. Vijay did it. Boss, you have to respect people like that.
And do you think there's space for more such, opportunities in...
I think this nation's ready. I think the problem with this
nation...
nation...
do you think the Congress will collapse and there'll be such regional parties which will come to fore?
नहीं मुश्किल है Congress का collapse होना. But I think the one thing that this nation, recent memory, is skeptical about is Arvind Kejriwal ji's movement. Therefore, the momentum that should happen has not happened because people were conned by Arvind Kejriwal ji's Aam Aadmi Party.
And my question: why do you think there's it's difficult for collapse of Congress?
No. Eventually, if it continues on this part, it'll be very difficult for Congress. But because it's such a huge structure, to sink will take time if it does. And I hope it never happens. My grandfather was in the Congress. My grandfather shot by Godse. वो गोडसे आपने ने गोली चलाई थी वो बापू के साथ थे मेरे grandfather. It brushed him. So I hope it never happens. I would want the Congress to live. But the way the Congress is going, and I want to be honest with you, Uttar Pradesh 80 seats. आप हिसाब करो. Uttar Pradesh 80, Maharashtra 48, West Bengal 42, 48 plus 250 plus for 90 plus 80, 170, 170 Bihar 40, 210 and Tamil Nadu 39. Out of 249 seats, without an alliance, if the Congress contests today, Lok Sabha, how much is it winning? 10, 12, max 15, correct? Max 15. So the Congress has to dislodge the BJP. Out of 249 seats, it's winning only 15. 20, max 20 seats. How will you dislodge the BJP? In your biggest states, the Congress is not winning. उसमें से सबसे अधिक सीट्स महाराष्ट्र से आएगी कांग्रेस की. यूपी में कितनी आएगी बिना अलायंस? बिहार में एक आध आएगी, किशनगंज. वेस्ट बंगाल में कितनी आएगी? एक आध आएगी. तो वेस्ट बंगाल आप एक पकड़ लो, बिहार आप एक पकड़ लो, 2. उत्तर प्रदेश में आप 2 पकड़ लो, रायबरेली अमेठी, एक और 3 पकड़ लो, 3, 5. महाराष्ट्र 10 पकड़ लो, 15. तमिलनाडु 1 पकड़ लो, 16. और कौन सा स्टेट था? 16 सीट. I'm still being generous, 25 seats out of 249. How do you win? 229 seats. How do you form the government? And 249, where is the Congress? So unless the Congress doesn't go, let me give you another example. Let me come to central India. Madhya Pradesh, Indore, great city. Kailash Vijayvargiya ji says Ghanta. When people died of contaminated water, he said Ghanta. The Congress should have घेराउड his house. राहुल जी शुड हैव बीन सिटिंग आउटसाइड हिज हाउस. किस एसपी में हिम्मत होती, किस दरोगा में हिम्मत होती राहुल जी पे डंडा चलाने की? घर दे शुड हैव सराउंडेड. वहीं बैठो जब तक कैलाश विजयवर्गीय जी की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं है. क्या प्रोटेस्ट हुआ कांग्रेस ने? क्या किया? मतलब एक मिनिस्टर घंटा बोलता है, कोई मर गया. लुक एट द एरोगेंस ऑफ द बीजेपी. ये वही कैलाश विजयवर्गीय जी है जिनके बेटे आकाश ने एक ब्यूरोक्रेट को बैट से मारा. तस्वीरें आई और ब्यूरोक्रेट ने कहा नहीं मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग थी, कुछ नहीं हुआ. यू हैव नॉट बीन एबल टू डिसलॉज द बीजेपी फ्रॉम देयर. यार बियॉन्ड पॉलिटिक्स यार, जैसे लोग मर गए. इंडियंस डाइड ड्रिंकिंग कंटामिनेटेड वाटर इन 2025, 2026 whenever that incident took place. How the you not have Kailash Vijayvargiya ji responsible for it? My blood boils, यार. अब क्या कर रहे हैं विपक्ष?
तो what do you think? Okay, do you think that there's an मतलब of course there might be an opportunity for the Congress, but Congress is not doing anything.
Bro, आप बताओ.
Collapse नहीं, तो collapse हो रहा है ना कांग्रेस का. मतलब इससे ज्यादा क्या होगा? ये तो it's perhaps that's a larger point.
तो यही है ना. देखिए अल्टीमेटली जब कुरुक्षेत्र का रण होता है, कृष्णा कहते हैं ना, अल्टीमेटली अर्जुन हैड टू फाइट ना. कृष्णा जी चाहते तो 1 सेकंड में खत्म कर देते, विष्णु जी को 1 सेकंड में. बट वो कर्म तो करना पड़ेगा ना.
And that the Congress party is not essentially doing जो करना चाहिए.
Bro, that is what you have to do. Even in Kurukshetra, you think Krishna could have solved this problem? He could have done this and solved it. Forget right hand, he could have done left hand and solved it. But you still had to go to the grind, na. Even Krishna ji had to take that arrow, na. Had to go through the law of karma, na. So period.
Which is why essentially यही वो context था. So you understand कि कांग्रेस का क्यों इतना बुरा हाल हुआ है, because there's no work happening, and then that leaves the country because there's, for a plus there's always a minus. You know, even if you talk in terms of binaries, for 0 there's 1. होना ही होना. In the country today, BJP is all powerful. Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has ensured elections after elections. He's just winning, and essentially it's all been happening on the back because BJP, as you see today, any student of politics, anybody who's read through the newspapers, magazines, or how the party has shaped over the last many decades now, knows it or understands very clearly कि BJP को बनाने में बहुत कार्यकर्ताओं का जोर है, but the BJP that you see today is a consequence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's experiments, actions, ideas, so on and so forth.
Correct.
Now, but ऑपोजिशन गायब है, ऑपोजिशन को बिल्कुल खत्म कर दिया गया है और ऑपोजिशन के अंदर ये इंश्योर किया गया बिकॉज एज अ पॉलिटिकल लीडर इट इज हिज धर्म टू एंश्योर दैट ही विंस द इलेक्शन. इट इज नॉट हिज जॉब टू थिंक अबाउट द ऑपोजिशन.
Yes.
नाउ द ऑपोजिशन अभी मोर और लेस इज सॉर्ट ऑफ pulverized in many ways. The largest of the grand old party, the Congress party, was supposed to do its job. It's not done its job, leaving a vacuum. That vacuum in Tamil Nadu per se is taken by TVK, right? इस तरह से then since the conversation उसी तरफ जा रही है, I think do you agree that there's an opportunity for many such Vijays to rise all across the country, and when that happens essentially कांग्रेस तो फिर खत्म ही है. फिर क्या बचेगा? फिर तो ये just लटिन्स की पार्टी है. लटिन्स का 4 people just gang up together in golf links and say let's do Christmas, let's play New Year.
उसमें से आपका एक और दुगल साहब आ जाएंगे हरियाणा वाले. वो हर चीज में एक्सपर्ट है, फ्रॉम सेफोलॉजिस्ट टू क्लाइमेट एक्सपर्ट. बट या बिकॉज यू आर राइट.
तो यूजुअली खान मार्केट में ही होते हैं.
हाँ वही होते हैं. Over his cheese he will say नहीं हिंदी नहीं, हिंदी सिर्फ हिंदी सीखना चाहिए. I'm not for English. Fine, yes. छोड़ो इनको. The thing is that this is important because देखो, a lot of times people say that opposition is over. BJP ने विपक्ष को खत्म कर दिया. But it's not a BJP's job to keep the opposition alive. Every night after night for the last 8 years, I've been going and bashing the BJP, including on your podcast, which is right wing. And you're promoting a right wing. और मैं उनको गाली देकर आ रहा हूँ. मैं कह रहा हूँ किसी ने मेरे को रोका नहीं आज तक. Because it's again the content that you have, and you may slightly disagree. You've agreed with things I've said. Because bro, this is a democratic country by nature. We respect each other. So nobody is trying to end opposition. Jokingly, I told somebody. They said, "Yeah, you get money to talk on TV," which is true. I do. So they said, "ये क्या है?" I said, "Think about it. What a great democracy it is." मुझे पैसे देते सरकार को गाली देने के लिए, और किस लोकतंत्र में पैसा मिलता तो सरकार को गाली दो. तो it's brilliant. This is democracy. I am saying what I want to say. Nobody stop me. But you must have sense and gravitas, and you must work hard. You can't not work hard. This morning I finished my meetings. I came from the Taj Mansingh. There was a chief minister who wanted to meet me. I was sitting with the chief minister explaining how the SIR process must happen. We had a long conversation. From there, I reached on time here. I'm doing this. I'm now going to Noida. I've got my shows in between. I'm going to take a break, figure out my meetings in the car. I'm going to do my meetings that I need to do. You got to work fucking hard. There are no excuses. You can't be living in a parallel universe and thinking, okay, I will do Arjun's podcast and automatically hit hoga. I have to come with content. You have to set this up. Unless you don't do the effort, it won't work.
It's not going to happen, right? So, like we were discussing, but always, samaj ke andar, whichever society, there's always this, the people who have power and people who don't have power. It's a conflict. People who don't have power are always per se in pursuit of power. And because power की जो reflections होते हैं, you see in money, you see in social hierarchy, you see in many different variations and things. तो in general, power को पाने वाले लोगों का हमेशा एक pursuit रहता है कि power जल्दी से मिल जाए. And there's always these number of people who are not in power. That being said, हमारे समाज के अंदर, the society and the state that we're living in, BJP's idea is, in many ways, that the entire nation comes together for a larger goal, right? In order for people to come to in pursuit of that larger goal, everybody sort of, BJP will expect, everybody will sort of understand कि भाई ये power में नहीं है, या फिर सबकी aspirations accommodate होती जाए. But you know how human psyche works, you know how society works. There are always going to be people who are going to be away from power and would want that power. So the ground is perhaps ready, but Congress उसे ले नहीं रही. कांग्रेस उसे ले पा नहीं रही is because Rahul Gandhi ji as a leader or his aides and advisors. What has gone so bonkers for the party which boasted of so many of, you know, from legal luminaries to politicians to academics, intellectuals and so on. It's come to a state. There are many arguments that people on social media make. Some say कि you know राहुल गांधी या कांग्रेस पार्टी ने भगवान राम को दूर कर दिया था अपने से, या the idea, the ethos that this nation represents उसको दूर कर दिया था, जिसका नतीजा ही ये है. Where do you think is the issue? And I understand completely कि Congress party is not going on ground, organization नहीं जा रहा, but this has to be something more fundamental कि भाई क्यों नहीं जा रहे, तो फिर पता ही है ना, या तो ट्यूनिंग या ट्रेनिंग ही इस तरह की हुई है. इससे पहले चुनाव ही ऐसे जीतते आ रहे थे कि जिसके अंदर वन टॉप लीडर, उसका एक ऑरा हो गया था, वेव पर चुनाव लड़ लिए जाते थे, नोबडी रिक्वायर्ड पर से टू बी ऑन ग्राउंड. सिर्फ रैलीज के अंदर बड़े नेता जाया करते थे, बाकी नीचे वाला सारा काम लोकल शत्रप्स को दे दिया जाता था. डू यू थिंक दैट्स द रीजन कि वो ट्रेनिंग ऐसी हुई है, और वेयर डू यू थिंक इज द फंडामेंटल प्रॉब्लम कि ऑफ से सिंस 2014 12-13 साल हो गए हैं आउट ऑफ पार, वो फंडामेंटल चीज ही ठीक नहीं कर पा रहे. वेयर डू यू थिंक इज द प्रॉब्लम?
From 2011, there is not a single state the Congress has won again. Except Karnataka 2018, but that also they didn't win. BJP was single largest. They formed the government with JDS. There's not a single state the Congress has been able to retain. A single state since 2011. The fundamental problem is not one problem, it's many problems. But the most important thing is that all of these problems stem from the fact that you're not in touch with ground reality. Rahul ji, when he did Bharat Jodo, the country blessed him with 99 seats because he was on the ground. People around him are clueless. Totally. They have zero idea of what India is about. That's one. वो क्या करते हैं, वो गणित लगा देते. India's changed. ये ऐसे होगा, वैसे होगा, वैसे होगा. Second, we are not raising the right issues. For example, in Bihar, SIR was not the issue. Lack of development. I mean, for everything, Nitish Kumar ji was a terrible chief minister. I mean, he did in his first session good. After that, Bihar didn't progress. If you see the Niti Aayog report itself, the gap between Bihar and a Maharashtra, Bihar and a Gujarat has increased, not decreased. Everyone's progressed, but you couldn't nail that one. So what I'm just trying to say is that there are so many issues for which, one, you have to be on the ground, two, identify those issues and be on the ground, and three, fight passionately about those issues. But most importantly, मोहनदास करमचंद गांधी महात्मा कब बने? जब वो बिहार में बैठ गए और उन्होंने अपनी सत्याग्रह को कंप्लीट किया. You can agree, disagree with Gandhi. That's not the point. But he fulfilled what he wanted. Until you don't get success, then you will not be taken as an alternative. Some time ago, we were only talking about Rafale. Rafale was the biggest issue. After that, it became, the issue became something else. Then it became caste census. Then vote chori. But no issue is being completed, right? You have to finish an issue. So let's go to vote chori, which is the latest one. Because the issues keep changing. You have to stick and win one battle. Now, the issues keep changing. So you say vote chori. Rahul ji's first press conference for vote chori was in Karnataka. First press conference. I'm not talking about the second one, the first one. He gave all these examples of where chori happened. One house had 80 people or whatever. And you again agree, disagree with that. They gave some explanation. The point was that there was some amount of discrepancies there, even if you don't call that a fraud. Tell me an FIR filed by the government, Karnataka government. It's a big Congress state now. His first vote chori press conference was in Karnataka. Where is the FIR? The BLOs who may have done that, because obviously Gyaneshwar Kumar is not coming to do it. Let's assume he wants it to be done, but it's being done by the BLOs. They're state government employees. कितनों को आपने suspend किया? कितनों को आपने notice दी? Now let's come to a second point. So unless you don't finish something, where will be the success? Now let's come to a second point. Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh. You formed governments. The fight continues for chief minister. You're not able to solve it. I'm not saying it doesn't happen in BJP. BJP also, Sonowal was replaced by Himanta Da through a tantrum. We know what happened and then he was made chief minister. It happens. And I understand the BJP has more power and Amit Shah ji is ruthless as he only wants to win. So he's not going to accommodate. You go his way or no, the Sangathan has to go ahead. And I also understand Congress is softer that way. But at some point you have to resolve. You think these issues are not going to happen in Kerala right now? Who is the chief ministerial candidate? So you must be very clear. Third, you must hold on to what you believe very firmly, stand for everybody, but not insult other people. So, राम मंदिर के ताले किसने खोले थे? राजीव जी ने खोले थे ना? हो सकता है लोअर कोर्ट का ऑर्डर था, गया क्या हाई कोर्ट में उसके खिलाफ? खुलवा दिया ना? What was Rajiv ji's last interview? कि भव्य राम मंदिर बनना चाहिए. Bro, ultimately you can't keep culture out from India. India has certain cultural ethos. I, being a Muslim, have the kalabas in my hand, go to mandir. I come from a city where Ganpati is, for us, everything. So, I mean, culturally, there is a cultural configuration. Now, I do stand for the minorities, right? I think BJP is absolutely bigoted. Like when Suvendu Adhikari ji says, and he may be chief minister, I will only work for Hindus, not for Muslims. That's a bigoted statement to make. But that does not warrant I polarize on that statement. My aim should be Hindus and Muslims will work together. Not he saying I'll work for Hindus, so I'll work for Muslims. So the culture cannot go away. It's not even Indian culture that I only work for Hindus and I won't work for Muslims. That's also wrong. So I am saying that a Congress has not. Today a lot of Muslims are looking towards Congress to vote, which is a good thing. Where was the last protest the Congress has had for Muslims on right issues, not on wrong issues, on right issues? Where was it? Why are you not standing up for Muslims on the right issues? Where in any other democracy, if Suvendu Adhikari ji made this statement, I will not work for Muslims, the party that got only Muslim votes in Assam and again, nothing wrong. They put Muslim candidates because of the delimitation. You should have been on the street. Kahan hai aap? So why you're getting their vote and not even standing up for them? ऐसे नहीं होता. You have to stand up for everyone. And then when you stand up for them, you are othering the Hindus. वो भी नहीं करना चाहिए. You build a united... Congress is a big tent. What was Congress? It was a big tent. You had a Nehru who was left of the center. You had a Vallabhbhai Patel who was right of the center. You had a Madan Mohan Malviya who was more right of the center. You had some extremely left people like Kamaraj. And yet they coexisted. They had differences of opinion. In public domain, Nehru and Vallabhbhai Patel. But you must coexist.
Yeah, but do you think there's an ideological crisis in the Congress right now? So there's no clear-cut ideology that Congress represents.
Please explain to me what it's standing for. The Congress which my grandfather got shot, is it the same Congress today? Would the Congress is the natural party of this country because the country's independence was born on a larger movement of the Congress. I'm not saying others didn't contribute. The largest movement was the Congress movement. This is the soul of this country. We can't allow it to die. But the soul has to be inclusive. Can't be one day saying, if Udayanidhi Stalin said that Sanatan is dengue malaria, so did a nepo kid of another Congress leader.
Okay, since you're a Muslim and we've touched that topic, Congress versus BJP this century, let's talk about 21st century. Which party has done more for the Muslims than any other?
See, BJP has this claim that they've given so many houses and all that. Frankly, how do you verify that claim? I mean, housing pe religion to nahi hota hai. And many places, Muslim names are exactly like Hindu names. So how are you verifying it? How is BJP getting that data and putting it out? So I don't know how that works. But I
has
do know.
Congress done many things? Which is why.
But I do know that the Muslims need to come out of ghettoization. They need to come out, but they can't be othered. And they need to completely, it is the job of all political parties to make sure the assimilation is perfect. Because they are as much citizens of this country as anybody else are. And we cannot have this ghettoization of Muslims. What's happened right now in Assam, 26 assembly goes to Muslims, 100 is here. This is wrong. And it is and Congress is duty bound to fight for them. BJP is duty bound not to ignore them. You can say I'm giving everyone a gas cylinder, toilet, Ujjwala, all that. That doesn't matter if you're humiliating somebody and othering them. You can't do that. I think that the BJP also needs to work. अभी आपने सब कुछ फतेह कर दिया, ये मत करो आप. This is not right to do. And the Congress needs to stand up for Muslims more. At the same time, it must stand up for Muslims without othering it and make a proposal how large sections of Muslims can be integrated in society culturally. Because again, it's something I'm going to say, and I say this with the greatest of respect. I don't mean disrespect to anyone. The other day, Mohandas Pai, me, and there's this amazing journalist who does real estate. I won't take his name because it's another podcast. After my podcast, we were going in Mumbai. And all three of us noticed the number of Muslim women in hijab and burqa. Now, I have nothing against women wearing what they want. Please wear a bikini. I am no one to moral police you. But coming from Maharashtra, where I come, where my mom wore a Mangal Sutra inside the masjid, into Jamaat Khana, and a bindi and a sindoor, and we've seen that assimilation. To see so many more women asserting their identity like this I'm wondering, why is it happening? So is the Muslim also asserting his or her identity because there's an identity war? Is this okay for us, or should we assimilate? So it's something that I'm also grappling. There are no right or wrong answers. But I've never seen this much in Mumbai and Pune as I've seen it in other parts of the country. So to me, is this good or bad? Can there be more assimilation? For me, I see it that way. I'm not being disrespectful to anyone. I mean, I am Muslim. I'm just saying that we have to think about these things. At the same time, the not allowing of Hindu identity in many places, is that okay? Why should it not be allowed? The tikka or the kalab or something, as we saw in this, some controversies. So I think as a nation, we need to have this conversation so we can be more, because we are an inclusive country, without othering the others.
Now, before I close, there's a point that you made a mention of, and I think it's in the understanding and assessment of Congress party. You spoke about कि सब अपना गणित लगाने लग जाते हैं. And I've noticed there's a peculiar habit, and this has happened when I'm telling you something very recent, कि जब भी any Congress person or Congress leader पर से बात हो कि चुनाव में कौन जीतेगा, सारा metric कास्ट के अराउंड होता है. ये कास्ट के इतने वोट हैं, इस कास्ट में 80% वोट हमें मिल जाएंगे, इस कास्ट के इतने वोट हैं, इतने वो हमें मिल जाएंगे. आई मेड दिस मेंशन इन माय बुक आल्सो कि कैसे व्हाट द बीजेपी एंड्स अप डूइंग इज कि दे मे बी डूइंग इट. आई नो माय कन्वर्सेशन, आई हैव नॉट सीन इट एज मच, बट इन जनरल इट्स अ वेरी कन्वीनियंट एक्सप्लेनेशन टू टॉक अबाउट इलेक्शंस. कौन जीतेगा, अच्छा इस कास्ट की बात कर दो, इस कास्ट की बात हो, ऐसे हो जाएगा. That's a very convenient way to fight and hope to win elections. But elections are now winning on very minute things. For instance, BJP has, in some way, if you call it a caste, a community of a long list they have of people who are beneficiaries of different schemes. So there's a new class or new caste जो beneficiary caste है, right? कि उनके पास भी भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यकर्ता जाते हैं और पूछते हैं कि अच्छा आपको नौकरी नहीं मिल रही थी, पहले कैसे नौकरी मिला करती थी, अब कैसे नौकरी मिल रही है. That person who's got the job now will definitely say कि boss, this was never imagined. हम कभी सोच भी नहीं सकते थे कि ऐसा possible है, because we didn't have any connections, or we didn't have the necessary means or monies to spend for to get my what a job. ये जो difference है ना, is critical because the Congress party, its leaders are till date not understanding, and उनको the advisors essentially उनको लगता है कि this is the only way to think about it. And all Duggal Saabs, not just the Duggal Saab, there are many other Duggal Saabs also, अलग-अलग states के जो भी आते हैं, सबके दिमाग में यही चल रहा होता है कि just this is the Ramban to win the elections, when election after election the BJP has shown that that's not the right way, where there are places जहाँ पे BJP ने कोई freebies की बात नहीं की, they lost the election, so the next election they decided कि we'll do freebies. Because BJP is a 24/7, 365 days party. Every leader in the party is at its job, 24/7, 365 days. So every strategy is a fresh strategy. They will take some ideas, they'll make a new strategy. That new strategy will be different from the strategy that's a fresh strategy for a different state.
True.
Because हर जगह focus क्या है, धर्म क्या है, चुनाव जीतना है. That being said, Tehseen, thank you very much, brother, for taking our time.
Thank you so much.
You've given I think we've recorded over close to 1.5 hours.
Yeah.
I don't know, these guys will clip it down to कि कितना उसमें
Yeah.
होना चाहिए. But you've taken out the time, you've spoken at length, and you've spoken about things which otherwise don't really get on. TV shows के अंदर ये बात नहीं
Yeah.
हो पाती. TV shows के अंदर कभी भी इस तरह की interaction नहीं हो पाती. Which is why I love the podcast that you do with Smita ji, because you get to hear different nuances, because essentially अपना देश जो है ना वो इतना nuanced देश है. So many complexities, because the person who's trying to explain the situation, a person who's trying to understand it, उसके लिए चैलेंजिंग हो जाता है इतनी कॉम्प्लेक्सिटीज को समझ ले, इसलिए वो बोल भी इतने सिंपलिस्टिक तरीके से जिस तरह से हमने कास्ट की बात करी. दैट मीन्स थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर टेकिंग आउट द टाइम. आई होप यू एंजॉयड chatting with me, and let's do it sometime again soon.
I really loved it. Thank you for the opportunity. I tried to be as unfiltered as I could, and I really had a blast. Thank you.
Next time we'll talk about your personal family.
Yeah, and we'll get a play date for your son, for your daughter and my son.
Yes,
So they'll get a play date and we'll do this.
We'll do that.
Let's do that. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Thank you.